with a salty stare. There's a heavy scent of diesel in the humid air. He looks across the harbor at the shiny hulls, ignoring all the tourists and the screaming gulls. He says, stop fishing for boats and find the deep. There are promises for ocean that we have to keep. Oh, turn the handle, Randall, let the drag just scream. Living out of Cabo San Lucas fishing dream. They hate people with suntans and smiles on their face, but we're finding our freedom in this liquid space. Turn off the news, they're all lying to you anyway. We're out here killing fish at the breaking of the day.
Well, all righty, gang. Here we go again. Another great day. It's Tuesday. That means Promar Ahi USA Tuesday. That means Michael Folks from Inside Sport Fishing and the History of Sport Fishing, and Kevin from Libertas Rods, who has a brand new business venture to open up on the show today. And then all three of us are going to sit here and listen to this man tell us some more stories about shark tagging. He just had I was talking to Brett McBride yesterday. He was blown away with some of the stuff that you did on Shark Week. We are all excited to talk to you. But first, Kevin, tell everybody what you got going on here, and then we'll get going with Keith, because I don't want to waste a bunch of Keith's time listening to fly fishing garbage, but this is pretty exciting.
I love fly fishing. I just took my buddy catching makos with flies, and I want to take Kevin.
All right. Well, then let's do it.
Yeah, so just real quick, as you hinted at last week, I have got everything set up for your fly fishing guide, and am looking to officially launch next week. There will be a special Your Saltwater Guide code so that everyone can take some time and check it out. But yeah, it'll be very similar to the Saltwater Guide site and app, but in the world of fly fishing. So I'm very excited to get that out there. And thank you, Captain Dave, for encouraging me and supporting me in this venture.
And thank you, Michael, for helping Kevin decide which way to go with this thing. I think Michael was the driving force to name it Your Fly Fishing Guide.
Well, there was really no option.
I built a hell of a platform, so you might as well jump on and piggyback it.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. I've got the Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube page all set up. I've got the website ready to populate. So next week it should be all going live.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Congratulations, sir. Good job.
Thank you.
That's his logo right there, gang. So grab a hold of that, take a picture with your phone or something and grab that. But next week we'll have a QR code up and all that stuff. Elliot will help me make that, because I can't do anything without my good buddy Elliot. Right, Michael?
I can't. I wouldn't even know how to breathe without him.
It's quite amazing. It's the guy is just a magician, and yeah, we need Elliot.
You understand social marketing?
Yes, he does. So that being said, we're super excited for you, Kevin. That's so awesome. You've come a long way in a short time.
Well, thank you very much.
But Keith, today's all about Keith Poe, and Keith Poe taught me so much last time he were on the show about mako sharks and thresher sharks, the way that they grow. And now I feel super guilty because, as Michael knows, Dave is the kind of guy that kills them all and lets God sort them out. Now I don't think I could kill a mako shark or a thresher shark. I just kind of have a whole new understanding of how that fish breeds, how it lived in the ocean, all the toxins that this fish has to go through. I mean, Keith, you taught me so. I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know jack poop about sharks. And I've been fishing for sharks since I was a little kid. It was the cool thing to do when we were growing up. Go out there and kill a bunch of sharks. You thought you were super cool. Now I'm like, wait a minute. Let me rethink this a little bit.
Times are changing.
Yeah. You guys have changed me. That's for sure. I don't want it to get out though, because I have this like.
You have a reputation.
You have a reputation to defend.
Yeah. If it swims, kill it. Yeah.
I have a stick that I go by, and I do it on shows, and I perform on stage, and I kill them all. But
That's right. Well,
And,
one of the
and a
things
lot
I
of
was,
that stuff. Go ahead, Keith.
one of the things I always appreciated about working with Michael was that he always had a stance for conservation, CPR, and everything. And every opportunity, he was always promoting it, and that's what I loved about him and working with him. And all this stuff that he promoted in his shows, he was always pushing that edge because it's so important. But if you guys want to talk about that show that's streaming right now, the biggest Mako on earth, what we did was the producers got together and they started looking at that, and they wanted to do a show on that because there was a report of a Mako in Cabo that some divers had filmed that was 14 to 15 feet. Okay, that's a big Mako. I'm very interested in that because we think we got big Makos right here in our backyard. So I started digging a little bit deeper, and the show was talking about an 18 to 19 foot Mako from like the Maldives from like the 1950s. And so I started looking at that, and there's scientific papers written up on both of these. And I'm like, okay. So we started exploring everything we could about that. And we wanted to find our own giant Mako too. So I started digging into the numbers and looking at exactly how measurements are taken on white sharks and Mako sharks. Like, you know, you have the IGFA, that's one measurement, and they do mainly weights. And if you look at all the stuff on the media, they're always talking about 20-foot white sharks and, you know, all these giant Makos. So I started looking at the standards of how they do their measurements. Like, for example, if you look at all the records that are out there, there is no documented great white that is legitimately 20 feet long. And there is no documented Mako that is legitimately 13 feet long. And if you look at the way it's done on those papers that were written up about the one that was 18 to 19 feet and the one that was 14 to 15 feet in Cabo, those are documented estimates, not documented measurements. And there's your difference. And the IGFA does weight. So if you look at all that stuff, and then you add in the bloviation that the media always does, and the show is trying to act like something's much bigger than it is. So if you take all those things and put them together, and you look at the way science measures them on a fish like that I'm catching, I do it the scientific way, which is a caliper measurement, the exact straight line length, nose to the furthest point of the tail in a swimming position or laid flat. And if you look at like OSearch, they do all those measurements too. They do 3 different measurements, but the one they report on their app is over the curve of the body, which makes the measurement longer, up the tail, which makes the measurement longer. So that's total stretched length. And then if you did that with the white shark I caught last season, Alyssa, who's 18 feet, now she's approaching 19, 20 feet long. So you got to look at the way everybody's doing these measurements. And the reason I'm telling you about all this stuff is because there's so much stuff out there on the internet. And every time I try to explain something to somebody, it's nearly impossible. And you look at all these different measurements that they have, and it's very convoluted. So people get confused, and they'll argue with you till the cows come home and tell you you're wrong. And they look stuff up on AI, and it'll tell you what you want to know for the most part. So and then the internet's just a big soup bowl of a disaster. But the facts are the facts. And most of the historical records, you have to look at them and put them in context too. A lot of them will be documented estimates instead of measurements because they're gone and they're dead, and they look at molds, and then they look at the people that are next to it, and they make estimates that way. And also all the animals, for the most part, when they measure them, are crane stretched. You take a 4,000 or 5,000 pound white shark, lift up by its tail, it's now going to be stretched out a foot and a half longer than it normally would be. And then they take that measurement, then they look at the hundreds of thousands of commercial landings that they have around the world, and they say, hey, this measurement says that it should be this weight compared to those. Well, it's crane stretch, so it's a polluted measurement. So there's a lot of, then they measure over the body and they pull down the tail. So if you put all that into context of the way science does it, is a straight line measurement, the way I do it. And nobody can compare to the sharks that I've just been tagging, and I'm about to go tag 6 more giant female white sharks, and we do a straight line measurement. So when you're looking at the measurements that people are using in all these shows and online and the way real science reports them, there's so many variables and different measurements, but the true line one is the scientific one that I use in my opinion. So then you look at this Mako and Cabo that was 14 to 15 feet. They used an estimate by their visual estimates and in the picture, because they say they knew the blue shark in the picture that the Mako was with was 6.5 feet. Okay, so they measure from that, but they didn't measure the blue shark. So it's a documented, peer-reviewed estimate, not a measurement. And it's the same thing with the 18 to 19 foot picture of a 50-year-old, 75-year-old picture of the Mako from Europe. So when you look at those things, and then you look at what the real measurements are, like I said, there's no white or Mako that's ever been measured over 20 feet or 13 feet, short fin Mako, not long fin. And Dave, I'd like you to show the audience that picture I just showed you. Yeah. I sent to you that balloon in the dorsal fin. Now, if you look at this, this is a screenshot of the Mako I brought to the boat during the show. And you can look at this show and you can make a decision for yourself when you look at the pictures from Cabo and the ones from Maldives. And this is the Mako I brought to the boat. That balloon is 14 inches. I bought it from Amazon. And now you look at that Mako's dorsal. Now, most Mako's dorsals are only 16 inches, 14 to 16 inches. And if that balloon's 14 inches, how big would you say that is?
24.
Now, when you look at it, you make your own decision, come to your own conclusion. You have to understand something else. This is an estimate. This is not a measurement. And then when you watch the show and you look at all these different parameters and diameters and measurements, then you can come to your own conclusions. And there's a lot of fascinating material in that show. And we explore all this in great detail. And I went out the deep end on it on my own because, you know, that's what I have to do is document stuff. And I wanted to understand why so many people were coming up with so many different thoughts and thinking on what is the standard and what is the measurement and how they're taken.
Now, I got it.
Keith, before you move on, I'm looking at that dorsal thinking it's got to be at least 24 inches.
Yeah, it's massive. So
it looks way bigger than that. If that balloon's 14, it's way more than twice the size of the balloon.
Yep.
So when that fish came to the boat, it was our last day of shooting. I think we shot 4 or 5 days, and then it came right at sunset. And there was like 10 people on my boat. It's just a little 31 Bertram, so I couldn't get up next to it, and the fish was going crazy. And that was one of the screen grabs that I grabbed to show people, to give them an idea of what they could see, and they could see all the rest of it in the show. And they can make their own decisions if they think this is the biggest Mako in the world or not, or on Earth. So a lot of interesting stuff in the show.
Now,
for sure.
You know that Mako and Cabo and the one in the 18 or 19 footer, they might be that big for real, and there might be some monsters out there, but we don't have the documented measurements. We have the documented estimates. And that's the thing that I'd like everyone to take away from this show. And when they're looking at this, when they're talking about it, thinking about it online, when everybody jumps off the deep end, oh, big deep blue's 20 foot. She's never been measured.
And then you got on your Facebook page, you have some videos, and I don't know why I did this, but I got the official shark length video that you have on there. I want you guys to watch this. I just got lucky and picked some videos that Keith has, but since we're talking about the length, watch this.
That is a killing machine.
That
It's a
is
big
the
fish.
largest. That is the largest scientifically measured great white ever, and it's also the largest spot tagged one ever. But it's the largest scientifically measured white shark ever from my research and what I've looked at. There's nothing any bigger. And like I said, when you look at other measurements, like how OSearch does it, they don't do the straight line caliper. They do over the curve of the body, inflating the numbers, and up the back of the tail, straight up, which totally inflates the numbers.
I think that's how I'm going to start measuring all my fish, though.
Absolutely.
I'm going to measure mine. I'm going to measure up over the dorsal fin, then down, and then up over the tail, and then down. I'm going to add about 2 feet to every fish I catch.
Absolutely. Another video you have, Keith, over there on your Facebook page is this, and I couldn't figure out what it is. So we watch this and then tell me what it is.
You look pregnant.
Or it just got done eating a swordfish.
Well, I'll tell you what, that fish came to my boat. That post, I think, how many views does it have on it? I don't know. There's like 1,100 comments on it. And for the first week of that post was up, I think half were Mako and half were white on what people thought. And I wanted to put it out there because most people in the world are used to seeing fish eating Makos. They're not used to seeing these marine mammal killing females out here. They're 9 feet and up. But when they start doing that, they get massive. And we talked last time about how if a Mako is 12 foot and 1,000 pounds and it eats 2 California or a sea lion is 200 pounds and a dolphin is 200 pounds, it's now a 1,400 pound Mako. But the thing is that shark came to the boat, and half the people thought it was a Mako and half thought it was a white. And now it's almost everybody's saying they think it's a white. And I think they're looking at everybody else's comments to make their decision because they just don't know. And that was the point of the post, because I want people to see that there's a massive difference in these fish that are out here. They're unbelievable. And their primary diet here, the females, is these California sea lions and marine mammals, because they don't chase fish anymore. And like we talked about before, the tuna fleet will be way offshore 100 miles. And all the tracking that I have on these Makos is inshore, exactly where the sea lions are at. So if you look at that animal, she looks massive and everybody thinks it's a white shark. It's not. And I think after putting my hands on probably 10,000 Makos in my life and tagging 5,000, I know the difference. And people always question me, and sometimes they're trolling me, and I think it's funny. But the thing is that that fish was at the boat the entire day, and I wanted to see how much she could eat. And I dumped 200-300 pound freezers at her, and she was still hungry, and she started ripping the buckets off the boat and was pissed off. So I fed that fish 600 pounds, and that's why it's so fat. And she's already a giant fish, so now I just made her 600 pounds heavier than when she showed up at the boat. I hate to tell people that because that's a way to make a world record. Just keep feeding the pig until it gets so big it's ridiculous and bring it home. So people put weights in there. We'll just put food in there, dummy. But the thing is that is a Mako shark, and I hand fed her all day long, and she was there the entire day.
600 pounds of frozen fish.
Fish, and I was throwing 20-pound chum blocks at her, and they just swallowed them whole.
Unbelievable.
God.
Wow.
That is so cool.
That's why she looked pregnant.
Yeah, and everybody thinks they're pregnant, and it's crazy.
Oh.
Another thing is, a lot of people see these sharks online, and they see all these giant bite marks on the side of their heads, especially white sharks, where they're fighting over. Because what they do is they congregate where the seals are hauling out, and that's the kill zone. When the seals are coming in and out, they'll kill them and eat them. And then they fight over that area because, they're like wild animals, dogs, and they don't share food. And so when they're fighting, they're biting each other and hitting each other in the gills. And there's another video right on my page where a 17-footer, Dolores, is attacking another 12-footer and biting her right at the transom of the boat. And I did it in slow motion. But they're fighting and biting each other. And I've kind of been looking into that because I've noticed here, because if you look at a lot of research, they're saying these animals are, the white sharks are producing offshore. But if you look at the pectoral fins, the underneath of the white sharks, that I've been catching some of the big females that are 15 feet and up, because they don't mature until they're 15 feet. They have hundreds of little teeny tiny teeth marks in their pectoral fins on the bottom side. And I started thinking, okay, well, that's reproduction. And look how careful they're being with those giant razor blades. So when they talk about when those giant chunks are on the side of their head, that's for reproduction. If I'm with a girl that's like 2 to 3 times bigger than me and I want to get sweet with her, I'm not going to beat her up because she's going to beat me up. So you're not going to be taking chunks out of the side of her head if you're reproducing it. Then you look at those little nipple bite marks. And then those are here and they're not offshore where they think they're producing. So I'm going to be looking at that and looking closer at how many of those with the cameras are possibly reproducing here instead. So, you know, there's a lot of things out there, if you look at them and start putting common sense to them, that they're much different than what the public perception is.
Hey, Keith, before we go any further, can you tell us where we could go? What's your website where people can go and see your stuff?
Well, the best place is Facebook, Keith Poe, because that's where I do all my communicating with people, because I can show them stuff. And on the website, I don't do much there because I can communicate better with people in the communities on Facebook for me. And for me, Facebook is the best place because when I talk to people, I like to show them what I'm talking about. And I can show them because I have, I don't know how many thousands of hours of sharks and video on my Dropbox. It's just unbelievable. And whatever it is that I want to talk to them about, I can show them. And Facebook is a great platform to do that.
So it's Facebook/Keith Poe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll put it up here in a few minutes. It's just loading right now. But we got all kinds of questions for you, Keith, and I'm super excited you're here today, and you're going to teach Michael and Kevin and I all kinds of cool stuff today. So what's going on right here? I know that's a white shark because of the teeth. I know that. But other than that, what the hell? Look at that hook.
That's the 27.0 Mustad. And what's going on there is I'm trying to get the hook back. And I will say this, that I've only done that a few times for a few years, and I have a way to take the hook out without doing that anymore. And that's from quite a few years back, but I thought I'd share it just to get people's attention. But that is actually a very dangerous thing to be doing, to get a shark straight up and down, because if it starts swimming, it'll come straight up and possibly fall in the boat with you. But I'm pushing its mouth open. And a lot of times if you touch their nose, well, half the time I would say, and you get their sensory going on their nose, and it'll pop their mouth open like a mouse trap, and then they'll let go. And she's actually biting the hook and not letting go of it. I'm trying to let her go, but she doesn't want to. She wants to, she's mad, so she's biting the hook. And I'm trying to get it out of her mouth. And it's very dangerous. And I touched one of those teeth one time with my finger to see how sharp it was. And it felt to me like it was about 5 times sharper than a razor blade. And that was a chilling moment.
Yeah. Well, I bet when your wife sees this picture, because what you guys don't understand, and Michael talked about it last time Keith was on the show, 90%, maybe more, maybe 98, 99% of the time, you're out there doing this by yourself.
Right.
Your wife probably hates seeing pictures like this. She's like, honey, you're seconds away from dying.
Honey, how was your day, honey?
Yeah. She just says, I don't want to know. But she goes out there and does a lot of it too. The next trip I'm going on, I'm going to try to go out of Marina Del Rey, and I think I'm going to go out by San Nicolas and go out by Santa Rosa. I'll be out for 5 or 6 days solo with about 300-mile trip. The water's so warm right now, we've lost track of where the big girls are at because the water's gotten so hot, and I want to go find them. It's going to take a lot of work, but I'll find them.
So look at those hooks. Tell us what size those hooks are.
Those are 27.0s, and their shank is 5/8 of an inch. And that was the first time we ever did the in-water spot tagging, and that's on the Islander, and we're at Guadalupe Island. And that's Clay Davidson's boat in the background that we were using. It was 19 foot, and we were tagging 17-foot white sharks. And when the camera crew and everybody would go from Discovery, it was a Paul Walker shoot, one of his last shows, the actor. And we'd all go to one side in that little boat with a white shark tied to it. Dude, I swear I thought we were going over. And there's white sharks everywhere. But that was our first time to take the hook out, and the hook had popped out close to the eye. So I said, hey, I have a diamond blade grinder. You want to try to cut it rather than doing damage pulling it out? He said, go ahead. So I ground it out, cut it in half. And everybody thinks that that hook was failed and it bent, and they're making all kinds of crazy comments. And I tell them and nobody listens. But that day, we caught our first in-water spot tagging white sharks on that little boat in the Islanders, our mothership there. We were tagging fish that were 17 foot 9 inches in that little boat. And I told Michael Domeyer, who I was working with there, that I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, puke, every emotion, because it was just so overwhelming. Because I had always worked with the white sharks, and that was in 2012. I mean, the mako sharks. But when I got to see a tail that was as tall as I was, dude, it was unbelievable. And I was fighting and pulling against that thing, and I thought it was going to rip my spine out of my body. It was unbelievable, the power. So that was a quite an emotional experience to do that.
Absolutely.
No
We did a little
kidding.
party after that adventure.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Could you imagine tying a fly on that, Kevin?
I mean, I'm just looking at those. That was the first thing that popped in my head is how in the world am I going to put feathers and flash and stuff on a hook like that? My goodness.
Get mama's
That's
curtains out and start working it.
No kidding. Man.
So there's all kinds of stuff I grabbed off of your Facebook page. And gang, I want you guys to go over there and check out Keith. What the unbelievable thing is, he's only got 18,000 followers. Why is this thing not millions of people checking it out? Because you've got the most unbelievable footage on here. I mean, holy Christ, if you got, and I'm not trying to promote Elliot, he doesn't have time to do shit, but if you got Elliot to work with you on this, you'd be a billionaire. But I wish I had your content. This is incredible, and people would die to see what you got. And I can't believe there's not more people on your page, Keith. It's incredible. And I know research costs money. So, wow, you're setting on a gold mine right here. And I know you haven't even posted a tenth of what you have as footage goes, and as far as on your GoPros and your stuff. So,
yeah, on that page, last time I looked, there was 5 million views, and I was looking up on AI what's going on and thinking about it and why there's only 18,000 followers. It's because it's a private page. It's not a commercial page, and they limit the people that I can have, and then you can only get followers. And it said that I have the top 1% of pages on Facebook in the world for my footage and the quality of the content, and that I don't need millions of followers because my reach from the algorithm, from the quality of the videos, is reaching millions of people globally. 5 million people a month, 5 million views a month. So, and on one video, I only have 4 videos on TikTok, and there's 40 million views, and one of them has 23.5 million views. It's one where I'm pulling the hook out of the white shark's mouth, but it gets a lot of views. But if you know me, I'm not all about the money. I'm all about having a good time and doing something for the fishery. And I got that from people like Michael Foes, Fred Archer, and Russ Iser,
Yep.
and Fred Hall, and Milt Shed. They're all the ones that took me aside when I started winning all the awards for catching the most makos in the Pacific, which I didn't know I signed up for when I signed up with the California Department of Fish and Games program. And they said, look, conservation is the way. Don't listen to these assholes out here. Keep doing what you're doing. We love you and support you for it. I was
Right
like, hey,
on.
that's good enough for me.
Right on, Keith.
Michael said, man, I'm so glad you fight those guys. And I said, right on. Thank you. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, you've done amazing work. Absolutely amazing.
oh yeah, it's phenomenal. And more people, I think, need to see it. And I know that if you made this a commercial page, oh my God, it would be insane. To think I get 30 million views a month on stupid stuff, you actually could really, and I'm not, I know money's not everything, but when we're getting up in age like we are now, money is super cool to have.
You can shovel some my way anytime you want.
It's cool to have. And the monetization, Facebook, you're getting all these views on Facebook, Keith, and Facebook pays more than any other platform on the planet. They pay more. It's stupid. I get 80 million views on Instagram. I make 18 cents. I get 80 million views on TikTok. I make 13 cents. I get 80 million views on Facebook. I make 20 grand.
You buy a new truck.
Wow, that's good money.
It's stupid money. And I just laugh when everybody says, oh, look at, he's posting a picture. He doesn't even know how to hold a bait. Lo and behold, I don't know how to hold a bait, but I do know how to make money. Woo!
Everything that I put on Facebook is done with my phone, and that's it.
Jeez. Oh, you just, it's amazing. That your footage is unbelievable, Keith.
Thank you. That's the innards from something that animal had just killed, Big Mako off Catalina.
Now you got a rope coming out of that mouth, or what? Is that just the?
That's his tippet. That's his tippet.
No, that's the intestines from something it killed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
That's intestines. That's no rope.
All right. That's incredible. What happened here?
Good Lord.
Look at that thing's mouth.
That shark we caught, and we were out by Point Conception, and the weather was starting to turn on us, and it was getting really rough. And if you get stuck up there, you're gonna go to the bottom. But we hooked that fish, and that fish was just beating our ass inside and out. And I named her after my family, Po Girl. But that's that hook that I was holding up earlier, that 27.0. And if you look at it, that hook looks tiny inside of her mouth. And I put that post up because I wanted people to get an idea and get a size perspective of just how big these animals' mouths are. And I put the tag on her, and she was working with me. I try to get them to work with me, like show them the path of least resistance we talked about before. And that is to where if you just go with me and work with me, then I'll get you out of here. And I got the tag on her. Then I took the tail rope off of her, and I was trying to pull the hook off, and she kept trying to bite me. And then she started going crazy, trying to rip the hook out. And then I moved her from the center cleat to the stern cleat, and I was going to try to get the hook out there if she quit trying to bite me. And then that was one of the shots where she kept raising up and opening her mouth. She got pissed off and told me she was done with me and she's not working with me anymore. I went around the freezers because I had to get away from her because she was getting so crazy, and was going to go around the back of the freezers and then try to get the hook and pull it out of the side. And then all of a sudden she got it out, and it fell out. And then she was upside down, and she took off like a bat out of hell. And we tracked her for 7 years, and her tag was still transmitting at almost 8 years.
Jeez.
And, she went to Point Conception every 2 years. Then she'd get pregnant, I believe, and we go offshore between Cabo and Hawaii and hang out for her gestation period, which is 18 months. Then she'd go around Cabo, go way up in the Sea of Cortez and have her babies there, we believe. And then every time after that, boom, beeline straight back to Point Conception. And she kept making those loops. And I've seen her, I think, 3 times since then at that same place. And I tried to catch her once, and we tried to put a new tag on her, but she was able to get free before, so that makes her fight even harder. So she's on to me, but she still thinks she can beat me up. So she'll take the bait, and she'll want to beat my ass again. So
Unbelievable.
That is amazing to think that you have relationships with these animals, gang. Most of you out there are thinking these are just big, dumb animals. But if you listen to Keith, they're far from big and dumb. They're big, but they're not dumb. And,
yeah, like I said, Lon, I don't know if I talked to you last time before or after I went on my last trip and tagged those 6 big whites. I think I did, but there was 160 of them that I saw, and I only picked out 6 out of 160 that were big enough to tag, that I wanted to tag adult females. And those fish are so big and so smart, and they've had so much success in their life. They're giant sharks, that when you try to get them to come to the side of the boat and work with you and get the tag on them when you fight them, they don't give up easy, and they're so determined, and you can see it and feel the power that is just shocking. I mean, I don't care what you've ever experienced in an animal in a fight before. You can take that by 1 million and you'll have some sort of an idea of what it's like to deal with these animals inside the boat. They will scare the hell out of you.
So this may be a silly question, I don't know, and you don't have to go super deep in detail, but so seeing the size of that hook, what line is it? Like a steel cable? Is it, what kind of line setup type stuff do you use for that? Because that's got to be a super strong line.
I won't go into those details, but I can tell you that one of my cables is 4,000 pounds and it almost parted. If it gives you an idea of the power that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
If you make one mistake in what I'm doing, it will be your last.
Yeah, game over. That's nuts.
And we need to get more into that. I'm going to show you some cool videos in a second. But gang, you all know, you're all going through this El Nino right now, and we are having a bait problem at the bait barges. First of all, it's dying in the bait barge. But second of all, there's just too many boats going fishing right now. So what I would suggest is everybody getting a sabiki rod. I want to show you this video real quick of this sabiki rod because the show is sponsored by Promar. They make these sabiki rods. Check this out and we'll get right back into this because I know you guys want to know more about the power of these sharks. All right, gang, good morning. Those of you that fish for bait, this is going to be, you have to have these on your boat. If you're fishing for mackerel for bait, or you're fishing for sardines, or whatever you're fishing for, herring, or any type of bait fish, you always need one of the sabikis. You're always going to be going to your tackle box to get one out, or you're going to your tackle center to get out a sabiki. And if anybody's ever seen it, when we're in the middle of a bunch of mackerel or a bunch of herring or a bunch of whatever, anchovy, sardines, whatever we're trying to catch, when we go to that sabiki, it's usually a big tangled up mess. It takes 2 or 3 minutes to get it untangled. We tie it to our line and we drop it down. If you have these on your boat, and we have 5 of these rigged up all the time on the yacht that I drive, the Wild and Sack, look at this. Now, this is a sabiki rod. This rod was designed strictly for what we're talking about right now, fishing with the sabiki. But you don't see the sabiki. Where is it? It's hidden inside the rod. You simply give it a shake. It falls right out. You jiggle for your bait, you catch your bait. When you're done, you simply turn the handle and the sabiki slides right back into the rod and gets put back up in the rack, ready to go for the next day. Here, we'll show you that one more time. See how quick and easy it's deployed? It's that easily put away for storage for a later time. You simply turn the handle, it slides right into the rod and goes right up onto the rack. Now, these things cost money. These sabiki rigs cost money. In the past, when we're done fishing for bait, we simply wad them up, put them in a bag, and throw them in the trash because we can't store them on the boat. And you guys are having the same problem. I know. Where do you store a pre-used sabiki? You can't. Every time you try it, you're thinking, I'm going to save this. You put it in a Ziploc bag. When it's time to pull it back out, it's the biggest tangled up mess you've ever seen. You never have to stress over that again. So look, gang, all you got to do is just simply put it into free spool and the sabiki simply drops right down. No tangles, no fuss, no muss. Fill up your bait tank. When you're done filling up your bait tank, you just turn the handle. The sabiki slides right through the rod and then you put it in the rack and it's ready for storage. Pretty amazing. If you don't have some of these guys, you're just wasting money.
They are the coolest bait rigs.
I got one.
Yeah, check it out, gang. You can grab them on the website right there. 15% off all the products at Promar. It's right over Keith's face right now, but you can check this out. You can get them at PromarAhi.com. You order them up, like Michael said, and anybody that's fishing marlin right now, you got to have some of these sabiki rods or anything else. This bait fishing right now is so important. And Michael, how many
Anybody worth
times
their
have
salt
you?
has that.
What was that?
Anybody worth their salt has that rod.
Yep.
Yeah, because how many times, Keith or Michael, have we run over? Oh, look at this kelp patty loaded with mackerel. And then you grab your sabiki out of the drawer and it's in a Ziploc
And
bag.
Yep.
And
No, you pull them out of your fingers.
exactly.
Yep.
So check those out. The QR codes there available, and you can save 15% on all your sabiki and all your sabiki rods. All right, Keith. So here we go. We got another video that's going to show the absolute power of this animal's ripping. I think this is the one ripping the line out of your hand. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Look at that, Kevin. That'll tell you he's not using a fly rod.
Right. Well, that's why I asked. Is it's like it's got to be a steel cable, with the power of these things. That's nuts.
That fish is 18 foot 6 inches, and I bought it, and I brought it to the back of the boat, right to the stern cleat, and I just have it in gear, and I took the 25-foot tape measure, and I slid it back till it was dead on top of the tail, and I had its nose right at the transom, and it was 18 foot 6 inches. She spit the hook and got away. I was pissed, dude, after all the work.
After all that work.
It takes a massive physical toll on you to fight these fish and get them that close, and be close enough to almost get her to the mid cleat and tail roper. If I would own her and be able to get the tag on, but she got away. But those welding gloves, even with them on, they'll start smoking on you.
Unbelievable.
If you look at that animal, she's several tons, and look how fast she took off. And
Watch
we've had
this
to
again.
get on top of the water like a marlin, hydroplaning with their tail just giving them lift, and like a boat plane taking off on top of the water. It's unbelievable the power those animals have, because usually they're swimming around, conserving energy, scoping things out. Then all of a sudden, at the drop of a hat, they go so ballistic. It's shocking, and it's nothing to have the whole boat covered with water, just like a drum of water was thrown on you just from one tail swish.
Yep, from one swish.
Oh yeah. And if they hit the boat with their tail, it sounds like a moped doing 40 hit it.
Unbelievable.
Watch this video again, guys. Now that Keith kind of described everything that's happening, now you'll understand.
Jeez.
That is so awesome, man. I couldn't imagine how bitching that feels, that power of that animal.
The thing is that you can't start the engines till you get the bait in, because then they'll be going, what's going on here? It'll spook them. And then once you get them to take the bait, I have to start both engines, and I have controls at the transom to start the engines and just shift the gears there. And when they first take off that bass, you're just hoping they don't go under the boat, because it's so quick and they go so far so fast, and you have to be able to keep the bait close enough to make sure that the rats don't get it, and you can get it to the right fish, because I don't want to waste my time in my gear, because they break everything all the time. And my time, once you catch so many, they'll get wise to you and they won't want to come to the boat anymore.
They don't want to go to the dance.
There's a lot more to this, and I'm seeing up to 40 different animals per day. So there's a lot more to this than meets the eye, and you got to get it started, and you got to keep that line tight, because they'll shake that hook. So there's been a lot of trial and error for a lot of years, and we're getting better at it, but there's always more to learn. And every animal is completely different. You don't know who you're going to get when you set that hook on them. So you better hang on. You better get your 5-point harness.
So Brett Seawolf had a question for you. and we'll open it up in a few more minutes to the questions. But Brett's a good friend of the show, and he had a question about the lady that got bit in Monterey. Would that be the same shark that bit somebody 2 years ago, or what do you think?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well, I did a show called Great White Serial Killer Fatal Christmas, where Thomas off Morro Bay got bitten, or killed actually on his boogie board, and the lady found him. And Po Girl was there outside the bay, and they were trying to figure out if maybe it was Po Girl, one of the sharks I tagged. But the truth of the matter is that, like I told you, I see up to 40 per day just in one spot up and down the coast in that general Central California area, Southern California tip. So she didn't even track in the bay. And if you look at how many different sharks that are there, it's shocking. And if you look at YouTube, like I told you before on the last show, Counting Jaws, National Geographic, and you can see that they figured out with the calculation from the last population survey, I think from 10 years ago when we did the show, but it's probably like 13, 14 years from now, that there was an 80% increase in the population of the white sharks, and the makos are the same, in my opinion. And that's because they've stopped the gill nets and wiping them out near shore, all the juveniles, and they've all grown up now. 30 years it takes them to get 15 feet, start reproducing. Now the numbers are going off the chain because the marine mammals have been protected too. So there's so many here, it's ridiculous. And to think that it's only one, it's like, that's like going to Disneyland and say, that's the dude. He was here this time last year. There's just so many there, it's ridiculous. It's hard to know.
And that makes sense. And there you go. That's your answers.
Yeah, John, there's no white shark out there looking for people to kill them and doing it over and over. Got a taste for human blood like Jaws. That's ridiculous. These animals are actually very smart. And when you're around them as much as I have, you can see their intelligence, just the way they behave, how cautious they are. Makos are like reckless abandon compared to white sharks. White sharks are like, I don't know, dude, this looks pretty fishy to me.
Now check this out, gang. If you stumbled across this is kind of cool. I like this a lot. Look at that. That is incredible, right?
Yeah.
How
that fish is at least 18 feet. We knew there was no way in hell she was under 18 feet. That again is an estimate. We didn't measure her. We didn't capture her. I had Ryan with me from Chris Lowe's lab. I took him out. We slammed in an acoustic tag and a pat tag in that fish. But that fish was there for about 9 hours pigging out, and she ate so much. She was swimming around upside down, and just I could reach over and put my hand on her, touch her anywhere I wanted, because she was like in a coma, food coma or something. She was just swimming around upside down. And a lot of people too think that these orcas, I want to tell you about that since I'm talking about this shark being upside down. They think that the white sharks can be put in catatonic immobility, and the orcas can do that. And that's what they do when they take their livers out. Well, if you look at the white sharks videos that I have countless videos of them feeding upside down on whales. And the reason they do that is because they have those top teeth, and the top teeth are a lot bigger and sharper. And then they go up, lift their head out of the water because they're buoyant in the water. They put it into the whale 3 feet up, and they start slicing back and forth till they pull a chunk down. Then they rotate upside down and use their teeth again to pull the rest of the chunk off and take it away and eat it. So they don't go into catatonic immobility. And then the orcas, when they grab them, I think what they're doing is they're putting their giant teeth into their spine and paralyzing them. And that's what's making people think they're in catatonic, and they're not. And what happens is when I get a mako or a white shark and it gets tail wrapped, and that rope gets really tight around their tail, and it's been a short fight and it stops fighting, I go, uh-oh, it's tail wrapped. And why I say uh-oh is because you have a very dangerous situation on your hands. I'll bring them to the boat, I'll get them to the transom, and I'll unwrap that tail, and it's like a bomb. And the second you hit that bear trap and that tension gets off that tail, it stops paralyzing them, and it's full tilt because their brain's still working, but their body's not. It shuts them down. And then every bit of power they have in their body blows up in your face with that rope and that tail, and they take off. And that's where I learned about what I believe is happening. I don't know for a fact that that's what the orcas are doing. They're sinking their teeth into their spine and paralyzing them, not catatonic mobility. And people also think that people love to come in and say, oh, that shark better watch out because the orcas are going to get it. Well, there's only ever been 2 documented cases in California or in the West Coast, in the Pacific here, of orcas killing white sharks, and that was at the Farallones. And the last one was 26 years ago. And there's only been 25 documented cases worldwide, and 60% of them are port and starboard in South Africa. So it isn't as prolific as people think. And a lot of these animals, like the ones that are attacking the sailboats over there in the Mediterranean or wherever it's at, those are bluefin tuna eating orcas. So you have to look at all the real stuff that's going around stuff when you hear about it and look at it with the more in context, and don't go for all the norms that you hear all the time.
Hey, Arnie, happy birthday, buddy. Happy birthday, Arnie. Keith, when you were talking a few minutes ago and you kind of blew through this so fast, and I think a lot of people missed it. I understand what you're saying, but you don't put a bait. You got how many animals swimming around the boat? You don't put a bait in the water until you see the one that you want. I don't think everybody comprehended what you were saying, because we all want, I just want a big mako. Explain this a little bit.
I never put a bait in the water until I see the fish I want. Then I put the appropriate gear out there for it and the appropriate size bait. And when I'm catching the big white sharks, we have to figure out what size it is. So it's actually very difficult. You have to figure out that it's big enough, because you don't want to waste your gear, because they wreck everything, and you waste all your energy and your time, and you can only catch so many before they stop biting. So then when all these fish are coming to the boat, and they're like a lot of times 4, 5, 6, 8 animals around the boat, they just keep coming all day long. And I have on the side of the boat from the transom to the bow marked off with black marker on the white gel coat every foot for 20 feet. I got a guy at the stern, and I'm standing up on the fly bridge, and then I got to get the current and the wind to the chum line turned just right, so they'll swim up the chum line and go straight down the side of the boat and not turn or go under. So once I can finally get him to go down to the boat, and he says the tail's here, I say, okay, the head's here, and it's this many feet. And then I know it's at least 15 feet, so we'll take a chance of baiting it. Then when the animal comes to the boat again, it's like the water's green, and I don't have very much clarity, so I have to make a decision if it's one of the others or if it's the one I want. And I try to look for a mark on it to identify and say, that's the one. Now I got to get this big ass bait and balls in the water and try to get it in front of it before it passes by again, and I have to start all over again. So it's a hell of a job to get the right fish, and it takes so much work to do, because I will only tag the ones that are what we're looking for, that sample size, a large sample size, a large amount of tagged adult females. So doing it is incredibly complex. It isn't, you just throw the bait in the water and, hey, we'll check it and see if that's the right one. Oh no, baby. It's a lot more difficult than that. And I'll spend so much time at the rail over days and breaking my back doing that, that it's not just physically, but mentally exhausting. And to get it right, everything has to go perfect. And you have to realize something. I'm not a big bragger. I love attention like other people, but on that little boat, we've caught the biggest fish in the world, bar none. Whites, makos, threshers, you name it.
2 questions. What's the biggest animal you've caught? What's the biggest white shark, mako shark? What is the biggest one you've caught? And then my second question is, when those animals are in the water and you got a 15-footer, are all the little ones still hanging out?
They don't have good clarity, the white sharks, when they come up, and they know each other are there. And once they see each other through the poor clarity, they'll swim off because they don't want to fight. But if you get too close, they go ahead and bite each other anyways if they think they can get away with it because they want to take a shot at this guy because they don't want him there. They want him to leave. So they don't get along. They don't like each other, and then they want that to be their spot, nobody else's. It's just like if you look at some people in different places around the world where they're swimming with white sharks eating whales. Well, here when there's a white shark, and it's my power is getting low, but when here there's a white shark. I had 7 off Palace 30s and one I believe that was as much as 20 feet, at least 18 feet. She beat up the other 7 white sharks and wouldn't let them anywhere near it and attacked them every time they came near it. So they don't get along. And I've had 15 adult female makos, 9 to 13 or 9 to 12 feet up my boat at the same time in clean water, and they don't get along. And the biggest one that was a black mako was attacking all the others, telling them to leave, but she was so busy fighting so many of them, it was just like a tornado of them fighting around the boat. And I had 2 that were attacking each other, biting each other, that went airborne off the bow while they were biting each other. So it can get crazy. And you always have these people that talk about diving. I call it dying with sharks. And they want to get in and swim with these animals, and they don't get it. If you go into the wrong place where it's a kill zone and you get in the water where I'm tagging out where this many animals are at, I promise you, you'll never make it to shore. Trying to set up the power here.
And Michael or Kevin, do you have any questions real quick? We got about 3 minutes. I told Keith we'd bug him for an hour.
I just want to know if Mountain Dew is still in your diet.
No, I had to give it up. Getting too old for that. I started being like you and taking care of myself and eating right. And I always think back about what you told me and what you taught me. I worked at Michael's house for 6 months, remodeling his house, and he let me go out and he taught me a lot about how to film and what to do. And
you're pretty amazing. A case of Mountain Dew every morning.
That was a special time for me, Michael. I enjoyed the hell out of that, and I'll never forget it.
Yep, we were down under the deck the other day, Keith, doing a little bit of repair work, thinking that was Keith Poe 25, 30 years ago.
He
how many bags of cement did you take down there? Like 150 bags of cement. You mix it by hand. Come on.
Yeah. And we were working on the beam setting 30 feet in the air, and I swung my leg around and I cut the back of it with a steel tie that was sticking out, and it was bleeding everywhere. And Michael's, I'll get the truck, we'll go to the doctor. And I go, okay. So we got the truck. And then on the way to the doctor, he said, what the F is wrong with you? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, you're bleeding all over the place, and all you're talking about is sword fishing.
We're on the way to the ER, and you're talking about fishing swordies.
We had some good times together, man.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yep.
And Keith, I talk about it all the time with Michael on the show every Tuesday. When we were young, when you and I and a lot of us were young, all we ever wanted to do was be on Michael's show.
Oh, absolutely. That was the greatest thing on earth. I couldn't think of anything better. I have arrived, baby. This is it. I won the lottery. Hey,
absolutely.
I want to throw one thing out there. My wife's over here, and she's telling me that I better ask everybody to visit the Shark Tagger shop on Facebook and buy some of our merch to support us.
Absolutely, gang.
Yeah,
you can check it out. I'm going to put it back up here again, and you can go over there when we're done here. Go to Keith's page and check out what he's got going on. It's on Facebook, and you can go there and you can check out what he's got going on, all the great videos he's got going on. And your store, you can go through your store from this page, right? Facebook page is. I know your wife's got to let us know.
Shark Tagger Shop.
Shark Tagger Shop. Shark Tagger Shop.
On Google or what?
No, that's on Facebook. It's a page. There's Shark Tagger, my page, which is Keith Poe. Then there's Shark Tagger Shop. And that's the merch page.
Well, we're going to have to bring you back on the show again. This is not even close to.
We didn't even scratch the surface, Keith.
I can tell lies all day. Nothing I said was true today.
You guys don't understand how special this is. And like I say all the time, for Keith to say it, I say it, Todd Manser says it. All we ever wanted to do, even though we all got to do some really cool stuff in our lives, nobody did anything like Keith. But when you made it on Inside Sport Fishing. Oh my God. You were like, whoa. Now we made it, Michael. And I'm so happy that you're my co-host on Tuesdays. It's so fun to have you here and hear everybody say the same thing that I always say.
Michael makes everybody feel like family.
Well, and what thrills me to the core is what you guys are continuing to do now. Like, you know,
you inspired us, brother.
Well, and you
just
picked up the batons and you guys have run in your own direction and have just done phenomenal work. And you continue to do phenomenal work.
You did that. You inspired us. Thank you. We love you, Michael.
I'm honored to be sitting here with this group of guys. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
Honored.
Well, thank you very much.
Best in the business right there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm very happy that Keith has become part of the family. And you always are making comments on my silly little videos. And I feel when I see you make a comment, I'm like, I feel like I do when Michael had me on his show. I'm like, shit, Keith's commenting on this. He saw the video. He made the comment. Wow. I'm so stoked
about each other.
We're going to be saying the same thing about Kevin here in another 6 to 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
That fly fishing thing's going to blow up.
Yep. And just check it out. I'll throw this part up one more time. There it is. Get ready. Next week, he's gonna put it up. It's going to be live. So tomorrow, we got a great show. We'll be talking about those deer on Catalina that they still want to slaughter. It's the most important thing on the Democrats' agenda is slaughtering all the deer on Catalina. I don't know why it's so important to slaughter these deer.
Leftards.
But they are so fired up to slaughter the deer, Keith, that I guess they're going to give you a bunch of deer meat to go out and fish white sharks with or something. They're saying they're going to feed it to the condors, which, right. They're going to feed it to the condors. Shut the door. They ain't feeding this meat to condors. They're slaughtering these things with helicopters and leaving them lay where they die.
I like to say whenever people are showing animals on social media and they show Bambi or whatever, or their cute little pet, I always like to say, how long can it swim?
That's a bite size.
That's just a snack.
Oh, God.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much for watching the show today. Share this, subscribe.
All right.